So there was a meeting, so there was a press briefing by the SADC and AEO observer missions, and they actually addressed it and raised a lot of issues, especially concerns regarding the 2023 election. Point number one, every citizen has the right to access any information held by Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, who should provide any person who requests for a copy of any voters roll as per constitution. So it has been said by the SADC observer mission that the denial of ZEC to give the voters roll to people who requested it, or to citizens who requested it, is a sign of manipulation, a sign that this election was not going to be a free, fair, credible election. CCC rallies were being banned unreasonably, and this is true because if you take a look on how rallies were being thwarted, on how rallies were being stopped, it was just a precedented effort to make sure that Advocate Noso Njamisa does not meet the electorate. There are areas you can actually see that it was very difficult for him to access, especially the rural areas, the deep parts of the rural areas. President Noso Njamisa's rallies, for example, the Chikombedze rally, were not given green light. That is wrong. If you take a look on that issue, you see that that amounts to an election which is not fair, which is not free, which is not fair, which is not credible. They also raised the issue of the Patriotic Act, and they say it is incompatible with the Constitution and the SADC principles and guidelines governing the running of an election. So using the Patriotic Act, what it means is that the people in the opposition politics cannot speak against the corruption, against the looting, against whatever which ZANU-PF is doing. So what it means is that you can never have a free, fair, credible election with the Patriotic Act in place. And that is true. So the increase in nomination of fees from 1,000 to 20,000 was exclusionary and goes against the SADC principles and guidelines, which require member states to guarantee an environment of open contest with no undue exclusion and restrictions on anyone. And that is true. If you take a look, 20,000, it's hard for anybody to raise it. Chero vanhu vakanzi 100 varikudaita mapresident is their right. You cannot tell somebody kuti you have to be rich for you to be able to represent. That is so wrong. The mission knows that the state media was biased in favor of one political party, which goes against the SADC principles and guidelines, which require the state media to be impartial. And that is a very important issue. We have not seen ZBC reporting on the opposition's issues, except kana vachitotaura zvegodo kana kuti vachinyomba chete, which shows that the state media is biased. 36% of polling stations didn't open on time. Some stations open beyond 12 hours, which is unprecedented. Section 52(1) of the Electoral Act demands ZEC to provide all polling material before election day. So if you take a look on this issue, you will see that 36% is a very, very, very big percentage. Inodiwa kuti munhu ange achitowina election, because if you get 40% and 36% yange ari kustronghold yako yaka-affectwa, you can actually see kuti that will be something which is not natural. That will be something engineered by these cowards who are afraid of an election, who are afraid of a contest. So you see that is true, and the observer mission noted it correctly. The other issue is we have heard that they ran out of ballot papers. How can you run out of ballot papers when they said they printed 7 million ballot papers for the presidency and 6 point for the National Assembly and another 6 point for the local authority? Akaenda kupi maballot papers iwayo? How can you run out of ballot papers? Iwe uchishandisa voters roll, uri kuziva kuti voters roll redu vanhu vakaregister kuvota i6,600,000 chakati. Iwe printer 7 million papers and you say you have a shortfall. What it means is kune kwakaitwa ballot staffing, and that 36% iyoyo can yakashaya materials in time, it shows that it can have been used to manipulate votes elsewhere. So it's very, very important to take note of that. ZEC assured mission all ballot papers were available before the polling day, and their stance later that some polling stations didn't have ballot papers puts credibility of ZEC and the election in question, and that is true. That is very, very, very true. So it's something which needs to be dealt with, something which shows that the people who are dealing with these elections are not serious. ZEC is not serious. Because some observers noticed the presence of FARs and other unidentified persons taking down names of voters before they cast their ballots, which was intimidating to some voters. And it's true. So as for Mwenezi here, I noted that at a certain polling station, there was a FARS leader who was actually an ZEC agent there. He was an agent about FARS leader. What does that mean? Ndiye mnhu angaifamba achivhundudzira vanhu, achifamba achiudza vanhu kuti parirani kucharohwa munhu kuchafiwa. That is the same person ari polling station achiita roving around the polling station asiri ega. There are 3, 4, 5 people at each and every polling station vachita rove around, vachifamba nemutsetse vachita zvavanoda. All those issues are important issues, and you will see kuti that's amount to unbiased elections because of all those issues. So you see kuti hanzi panapa ZEC must follow provisions of the constitution in terms of availing the voters' roll to all political parties and candidates. Nomination fees must not be exclusionary. State media must implement measures to guarantee impartiality. And the mission noted that some aspects of the fell short of the requirements of the constitution, electoral act, and SADC principles and guidelines governing holding of democratic elections. So Team Zimbabwe, this is what is happening. This is what the observer mission said regarding the 2023 Zimbabwe elections. So we are waiting for the AU and also the EU and other observation missions which are here in Zimbabwe, and will continue to update you.